Hello and welcome from my hotel room in the Netherlands. I'm so excited to come here and record this episode. And as I was connecting with Spirit shortly before hitting record, I was like, what should we talk about this week? And I really just want to share with you about some amazing things that I'm creating. Of course, I continue to co-create this podcast. And I say co-create because although I'm the one who's hitting record and doing the editing and the uploading, I definitely call in Spirit in a beautiful way to help guide me through this podcast. And I say yes to that connection. And I say yes to the fact that technology gets to be this beautiful thing that even though I didn't bring my laptop, I'm going to throw this episode up online and it's going to be beautiful and just exactly what we need it to be. And I say yes to that. The next thing that I want to share with you is this beautiful thing that Spirit is clearly telling me is we're doing this now. Like, stop thinking this is happening down the road. Does that happen to anybody else? I get downloads all the time of all of these things. And then I know just how I am, that some things are meant for right now and some things are meant for down the road. And Spirit has clearly spoke to me and was like, we're doing this now. Like, do this now. So the thing that we're doing now is I'm sharing with you an amazing group program that I am creating. It is called For the Love of Your Grief. Now, what this stems from is, as I've shared before with my grief process, is that you almost feel stuck at times in your grief because the world tells you you should. But that's a lie. So you're not stuck. You're simply sitting in some dense energy, and we get to shift that away from you. And if you're anything like me, in my circumstance, I did have a couple grief spirits that were connected and attached to me. And I got to send those to the light with so much unconditional love. And then now I truly know that part of what I'm creating is because they have shared with me their stories, these spirits that were connected with me because they didn't know better, but now they do because now they're in the space of unconditional love and they get to say, you know what, Alycia? What if we did this for others? What if the way that you shifted us into the light, what if you got to do this with other people and shift how they feel grief is supposed to look? And here's the thing, grief is kind of like this two-toned thing. You have your personal experience, your personal emotions, and then you have all of these emotions and experiences that it's like other people believe this is how it should be for you. I remember after my mom passed that some people felt very free to share with me how painful this experience was going to be, how long it was going to take for me to get through this, and so on and so forth. Talk about letting you just sit in that dense energy with no hope for removing it. I even had a counselor who told me that this could be like a 5-year process because I was so close to my mom, because there was so much love there, that I may be stalled with my life for 5 years. Can we just take a second to think about that the norm of a therapist saying this to someone, it left me with so little hope for my future. Because all I could think of was, I have to feel this for 5 years. This stranglehold of guilt, this like loss. And the reason I felt guilt was because I also felt shame because there was this like awful voice within me and around me that was telling me I should have been able to fix the problem. I was supposed to heal my mom's from cancer. I was supposed to be her advocate in such a way that the hospital was able to cure it. and I wasn't her advocate enough. And first off, I just want to say that these are all lies and stories that the world tells us so that we don't surpass life in a beautiful way. And so I know I've shared this before, but I had a beautiful healing session with one of my mentors, and we were able to shift that grief spirits, the 2 grief spirits that were connected with me, we were able to shift them and send them to the light with so much love. And the reason this is so pivotal, and I mentioned this briefly, is because I was able to then invite them to my team and say, you want to help me live the best life possible according to God's vision for me? And they're like, absolutely, let's do this thing. Thank you so much. And the thing about grief is, it gets to be as simple as it gets to be. So I'm creating a space that you will feel safe within to allow yourself to be vulnerable and open to the possibilities of what if. There is a time for you to grieve. And how your grief looks gets to be how your grief looks. This isn't about following a list of steps of grief and allowing yourself to process in that way. This is about allowing yourself to experience grief in the way that you choose to experience grief, and to also shift any stagnant, dense energy that you are sitting in and allow yourself to move through it and see that, oh my gosh, this isn't the end of the story with me and that person who's no longer here. Because I can tell you right now, I talk to my mom pretty much every day. And I know that there have been shifts in my life that have been pivoted because of her on the other side assisting me. One of the things that I have shifted was a viewpoint that I had, because I was feeling guilt and shame around it from other people, because my life shifted after she passed away. I got a promotion. I started traveling for personal and for my work. And there was this level of, I had to lose her for my life to get better. And that created a lot of shame within me. And then I shifted that, and it was this beautiful experience of seeing my life keeps getting better and better, and my life doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and I say yes to that. And it's also true that I lost my mom 2 years ago. And who am I to say that the reason my life is shifting in such beautiful ways, and I've been able to experience so many beautiful things, and I've traveled more than I've ever traveled, and I'm ranking up those beautiful air miles and bonuses, and I'm getting all of these unexpected miracles and blessings coming my way? Who's to say the reason that that's not happening isn't because my mom is on the other side helping me to shift and pivot? Because I don't know about you, but my mom would have been the perfect person to help with all that. So I say yes to that. And the beautiful thing about this group program is that I'm keeping the groups on the smaller end, because I want our calls to be this beautiful thing where I show up with a beautiful channeled message, and then we open the phones up and I meet you where you are. And so if you're in a spot where you're feeling like, I just want to feel hope again, guess what? We're going to shift some things, and we're going to call in some beautiful hope energy for you, and it's going to shift things. And allowing me to run this program, I'm going to run it multiple times throughout the year to allow it to be a smaller space, and also to be available for people when their grief hits them at their time. Because I'm calling in the people that don't want to experience grief the way that the 3D world says that you need to experience it. And so we're shifting that and we're saying yes to that in such a beautiful way. And within this group program, we're going to have hot seat sessions. We're going to have Q&As. We're going to have space where the community can come together. And if you're feeling on a random Tuesday and we don't have a call that day, hey, I'm feeling XYZ. Guess what? I'm checking that space every day between certain hours that I'll share with the team. And we'll get those responses to you so that you can shift then. Because why are you waiting until the next session? We're going to open that up. And we'll have an opportunity for those who want a little extra, that they're going to be able to have a VIP. So we'll have the main level, and then we'll have a VIP session. And then for those that really are wanting one-on-one, I'm gonna open up a few one-on-one sessions with me, like one-on-one packages. And it's going to be a beautiful experience that we get to create. And so I'm really excited about what this download was for me, because my experience with grief hasn't matched anybody else's yet. And I got to shift it in such a beautiful way. It's time for other people to experience grief how I did in that day when I shifted it. And this is not to say that I don't have a moment throughout my week or month or year where all of a sudden I miss the human of my mom. But that experience is passing. And it's like a brief moment of, man, it sure would be nice to hold her hand. And I allow myself to express the emotion, to feel it, and then to release it. Because it's not about holding on to those emotions. I don't feel like emotions are wrong. I feel whatever your emotion is, it's there for a reason. So maybe it's worth shifting away from it so that you don't have that. But also maybe it's just like it's okay. Okay, that made you angry. Let's create a boundary. You know what? That relationship that you had that just triggered you in that way, perhaps that's a sign that something needs to shift within your life. And that can be beautiful. And so this is just a very rambly riff of an episode, but I'm really excited about the things that are coming, because I've received downloads about books. I've received downloads about connecting with people on a true personal level. I've received downloads about, even a TV show, which I say yes to. Not really something in my space that I would have thought would have been a thing, but I say yes to that. Okay, let's do a TV show and let's create this in such a beautiful way. And so right now, as you're sitting here listening to this episode, I just want you to know that if you are experiencing grief in any capacity, so if you've lost a loved one, or maybe you're experiencing the grief of a relationship end, we are here to assist you in a beautiful way so that we can transform and shift away from the pain that the 3D world believes grief is supposed to look like. And so reach out to me if this is something that you are definitely interested in. And I know there are people out there listening to this that are saying, oh, what? Huh? But you're saying it in such a way that you want it to be right for you. And guess what? It is. It's just so beautiful. The space that I'm creating is going to shift your world in such a beautiful way. Because we're supposed to live a beautiful life, and we're supposed to love and experience the life of other people around us. And when they leave, that can shift our energy. And it's okay, because we can shift our energy again. And so I am going to send you all some beautiful love. Right now, I'm just feeling the Harmonizer SO calling out to me. And so I'm just going to grab it real quick because, yes, I pack with them. I bring it with. And the Harmonizer SO wants you to know that there is an unease in your soul when you are being strangled by what grief is supposed to look like according to the world. And it creates unease in not just your body and your mind, but it does it in a way in your life to create a stagnancy. And we can easily shift away from that and create alignment within our body, mind, and soul. And so right now, I'm just going to ask Harmonizer SO, go into everyone's field that is listening to this podcast episode over any time or date and space, and alter the story that is being told within them about the pain and denseness that they're supposed to experience with grief. And create a harmony within their spirit, mind, soul, and body, and envelop them in unconditional love, and the magnifier wants to magnify that unconditional love. So the magnifier SO is also here. And magnifier SO, I ask that you go in to that connection with the Harmonizer SO, where the Harmonizer is sending unconditional love to each person listening to this podcast episode, and magnify that unconditional love. And drop each person who's listening to this into observation mode so that they can sense that magnification of that love. And you may start to shift, swing back and forth. You may yawn, you may cough, you may take a deep breath, you may swallow hard. Whatever it is, that is just the shifting of that energy. And if you want to repeat after me right now, you can say, Magnifier and Harmonizer SO, I receive the unconditional love that you are reaching out to me with and magnifying in my life. I say yes to this. And with that, I am going to bid you farewell, but feel free to reach out and message me should you have any other questions about this group program and when I'm launching it. Until next time, I'm sending you all the love.